Okay, the first thing I want to cover in this video is Nick Shirley. He's a 23-year-old from the United States. Seems to be a good freaking American to me. He went up to Minnesota. He exposed a whole bunch of things going on up there with fraud and childcare, all of that stuff. I watched a whole bunch of his content. I checked out all kinds of videos that he wrote, that he produced, and to be honest, he seems like a solid guy. He's just trying to, well, show the world what's wrong with itself, man, because he has been all over the place. He has covered so many different subjects, not just subjects like this, but he has done a lot of work just trying to show people what is going on in the world, what is happening in other places. He just happened to, well, focus on America this time and go him, because we need more people to focus on America now. We really do. Like, our country needs Americans to stand up and be Americans, be real Americans. Be a frickin' American, like you and I. It's just one of those things. When you look at the Constitution and you look at our responsibility to the Constitution, we have a responsibility as American people to uphold what's written in that document. The people that we elect to power, presidents, congressmen, senators, all those things, they should be upholding the Constitution as well. Now, come to light with all of this stuff in Minnesota, well, Tim Walz isn't going to be running for re-election. Let's just say that. He even said that. So, good on him. He understands that he's not going to get reelected because this all falls on him. And, I applaud Nick Shirley for bringing this to light, for taking it as far as he did, and not backing down, standing his ground, being a good American, standing up for his people, standing up for his country. And to be honest, I think a lot more of that needs to happen these days, because all the information that we get on the news and the media, it just distracts us from what's really going on out there. We have these people coming into our country, staying here, and, committing all kinds of fraud. And, people like him that are bringing it out, that are reporting on it, that are not mainstream media, those are the people that we need to start listening to, because they're the ones that don't have an agenda. They don't have a message. They don't have, somebody higher up telling them, hey, sorry, we can't run that story because, well, our lefties or our righties don't want to hear that. They don't want that out there. So, that's where we're at as far as media goes. And, check out Nick Shirley. Go over, check out his page, watch his videos, find out who he is, man. Don't rag on the guy just because what you hear on CNN or NBC or any of these other, national media platforms. So let's get into this Somali fraud. And, as far as fraud goes, it can be anybody fraud. It doesn't have to be Somali fraud, but just so happens this time it is. The child care, the daycares, there's all these different things. And if you watch the videos that Nick is still putting out on this, it comes down to like medical transportation services and all these different areas that they've found their way into to be able to commit all of this fraud. And, it's a thing, right? If you can go and you can rip off America and you can get millions and, billions of dollars, at this point, they're talking about billions of dollars have gone into this fraud. It's how do we say this? It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit that this has been allowed to go on. This has been overseen by people in our government and nothing has been done about it. And, it's one of those things, Operation Somali Greedom. Here we are. They've gone and they've done all of these things, got all of these people backing them. They got Ilhan Omar in office. Hopefully, she's being taken care of soon, because we don't need foreigners in our government, especially foreigners that don't have the United States in their hearts. Now it's different. Somebody comes over here, they do it the right way. I get that. If they're looking for America first, then by all means, elect them in there. But she's always been Somalia first. She's always been someplace else other than the United States is in her heart. And that's not how our politicians need to be. That's not how our elected officials should feel. When they get elected, they should believe fully and wholeheartedly in our Constitution and the power that it holds in our society and our country. Because without that, they don't really have a job, because your first order of business is to uphold the Constitution, not, your home country or, whatever other thing that's in your heart. That's, you've been elected to uphold the Constitution. So there's that. Now, when it comes down to all the Somalis and all of that stuff, I'm pretty sure that there are people in the Somali community that are good people, that they go and they have a job, they work, they pay taxes, they do things the right way. I'm sure that there are some people, maybe even a majority, that actually came here and tried to assimilate to our culture and are assimilating to our culture. But apparently, there are quite a few that don't. And they feel that they can come to America and defraud us and steal from us and live for free. It's just not a thing. That's not something America's going to put up with. And I would encourage any of you people out there, stand up, do some investigating. You get a wild hair up your ass, great. Go out there and bust some fraud. And, this Somali thing, it's not just a Somali thing. Don't think that it is. Like, everybody that comes to this country, everybody from every other country has the possibility to be doing this exact same type of thing in every city, in every state. You're not going to, just target Somalis and think you found it all. People are like this from every country out there. And it's not because of the type of people they are. It's not because of their race. It's not because of anything like that. It's because they're criminals. I mean, it's plain and simple. No matter who you are or what you look like, you can be a criminal. And, well, here we are. They come over to America. They take advantage of us because they learn our tax laws and they find our loopholes. And, they do that. But what do we do about it? Right? People like Nick Shirley, there's other investigators out there that are trying to uncover these very same things. And, I'm not just talking about people from other countries. I'm talking about people that were born here. People that are born here are doing this. They're doing it somewhere. And it's just, the Somali thing in Minnesota, how do I say, is just a sample cancer, if you will. Because just like you have colon cancer and breast cancer and throat cancer and all these different types of cancer, it's pretty much the same thing with fraud. It's the same thing with fraud, and it's not just Somalis. There are people here in our own country that were born here, that are Americans, that are probably doing the same kind of thing. So I think that maybe instead of just focusing on Somalis and all of that stuff, I think America needs to start focusing on every state, every city, every group of people. Find out who's defrauding us, stealing our tax money. Find out that, what we can do about it, how we can hold them accountable and make this stop happening. Now, as long as we're talking about immigrants, I'm just going to say this. If you've come over to this country and you've done all your paperwork, you've made sure that everything is clear and signed and concise, done and legal, you come over with your family, you find a place to live, you get a job, you're working hard, you pay your taxes, and you do everything possible to be an American citizen. You know, take that into your heart, take that seriously. Um, and then go ahead and fast forward a little bit. You know, you go and you have to renew your green card or whatever it is, your documentation. As long as you're keeping up with that stuff and you're being a good citizen, right? People should leave you alone. That should be fine. That's what America was built on. You know, my ancestors were immigrants. You know, hundreds of millions of people in this country, their ancestors were immigrants too. You know, they needed a chance. So I wholeheartedly believe in that chance that America gives people from other countries. But you should be tracking these people. You should be looking in on them from time to time. You know, make sure that they're not doing things like, fraud. But as far as immigrants go, I welcome them. I've run into so many different people in this country. In my time on this planet, 44 years, I have run into quite a few people. People from Africa, people from, Russia, people from France, Ireland, everywhere. Like, I've run into a lot of people, Muslims, Christians, all kinds. And, for the most part, I've never had a problem with any of them. They've always been nice to me. They've always been friendly in some way or aspect. And, I can't say that I have any issues with any of the different people that I've come across in America, which, good for me. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people out there that have had plenty of bad experiences. But as far as immigrants go, we need immigrants. We need people to come into our country and be part of making this country great. Because let's face it, this is freaking America, man. There's no other place better than our country. And if I can share that with people around the world, I'm going to do that. Even if they're going back to their country after what they do and learn here to make their country a better place, okay. See, and that's what being an American is about. It's about taking opportunity, taking the opportunity to do good things because you can do good things. But let's face it, there are a lot of bad actors in this world. There are a lot of people out there that would rather, put all that effort into, fraud, getting it for free or trying to. And, that's an unfortunate end to a story of human lives, right? Because I don't know, I want to do my best. I know most of you are out there busting your asses, going to work every day trying to do your best. So what's the difference, man? Why do these people come over here? Because they're allowed. Because they're allowed. And once they squeak through and they set up shop and they're making their money, they just lay low and be quiet until, you have a problem like Minnesota. But that's not all immigrants, right? That's not all people that come over here from other countries. A lot of people come over here from their countries because, they feel it's a shithole country and they want to come to America and try and at least live in a halfway decent country because, let's face it, America fucking rocks. And they know that. That's why they want to come here. So let's not rag on immigrants too much, considering that most of us, at least biologically, are immigrants. Now, there's something else I really want to talk about with all of this coming on, with all of this stuff happening with Minnesota and Tim Walz and Nick Shirley and all this stuff. It's time for the division in America to end. We're Americans, man. We need to stick together. And it doesn't matter if you're white, black, pink, purple, polka dots. It doesn't matter. If you are an American citizen in your heart and you love this country, you need to band together, man. Get out in your community. Start learning the people that are in your community. Just like contact through video like this, making videos like this is a great way. We need to start learning who we are as a country again. And we can't do that until we start accepting everybody that's an American. It doesn't matter if they're lefty or if they're righty or what their political views are. It doesn't matter, man. If you come to this country and you're in this country and you are down 100% to be an American citizen, then you know what? You're good enough for me, man. That's what America is. That's what America needs, is those people to come in and add that variety to life. And the division that we all experience in America currently is becoming a huge issue. This isn't the America that I grew up with. I grew up with an America where we were so close-knit in community that the person down the street, if you were out past the time the street lights went out, they got your butt. You got a whooping. They brought you home. Then, because the street lights was out and somebody else had to bring you home, you getting a whooping for that too. Maybe not the whoopings, but definitely the community looking out for each other. We definitely need more of that today. And it's something that I feel that we're missing out on. Our children are missing out on. And it just teaches them to be more divided, right? It teaches them that being divided is okay. And that's not the way it is, man. That's not for real, especially when it comes to real Americans. Like, united we stand, divided we fall. That's why we're called the United States, not the divided states of America. I think that people need to get their head together. And instead of being divided over their political views or divided over, who likes Skittle-colored hair or not, or any of this stuff, start thinking about the people in your community that are there, that need help or that can help. And, maybe the people looking on and watching this video right now, maybe they might want to take it into their hearts to start helping. Because God knows their country needs them. We need every single American out there to start caring. And I mean, not just about themselves, not just about their credit scores, about their country, about their community, about their children, about how things are really going down in the world around them. And I understand as Americans, that's hard sometimes because you're out there busting your ass. You work your 50 hours a week. Sometimes you're working 2 jobs just to make ends meet. It's both of you, right? It's not just the man and the woman. It's not just person A and person B doing. You both have to do it, which is part of the problem. That's how they keep us divided. That's how we're staying divided. So if you take anything out of this video today, please stop being divided. Iron Glory, we're supposed to be united as a people. Well, everybody, that's what I had to say for today. That's part of what's going on in the world today. And I'm going to tell you, just do me a favor, like, subscribe, and tell me what you think down in the comments. I check the comments, I respond. I'm just starting out, so it's a good thing. Let's start a community here, people. Like, if you like what I have to say, let me know. If you don't like what I have to say, well, let me know. It is what it is. I'll see you guys in the next video.